NBA, dominating the court with godly talent unlocked. Episode 41. Oh, it seems a little interesting. After Jordan saw Enmu jump directly to the ball and attack quickly, he said to Pippen with some surprise, "I've never seen such a quick attack." Pippen thought back on his basketball career and found that Enmu was the first to play like this. North Carolina seeks perfection. McKenzie held the ball for more than half the court and immediately passed the basketball to Carter's hands. After Carter received the basketball, he lowered his center of gravity and stepped past Dunn. Dunn's defense was as fragile as a blank slate in front of Carter. The speed of this breakthrough is a bit of Grant Hill's meaning. Pippen on the sidelines couldn't help but light up after seeing Carter's first step. "This junior of yours is also very talented," Jordan said proudly. "The player who can be called Jordan's successor is weakly talented. Although I don't like this title, if I want to be my successor, I have to have two brushes." After shaking off Dune, Carter strode into the box. Coming, Vince Carter is taking off from the Denver Plateau. Can he block that Celestial Empire center? Fly. Vince Carter. When Carter entered the inside line, many fans on the sidelines began to cheer. And Santa Clara fans are also praying in their hearts. And let this guy taste the taste of Celestial Dynasty hot pot. Spacer? Enmu has never been separated. Vince Carter can't even come. At this time, Enmu was already standing under the basket. If he changed to another player, he would definitely not dare to challenge Enmu's height. But Carter, who is the pride of heaven, his basketball career has dunked countless such big men. He didn't mind adding Enmu's name to the list of being detained. Besides, didn't Jordan come to see this big man play? Then I'll let my dear senior see how I can block this big man. Only the partition can correct the name. A smile appeared at the corner of Carter's mouth. Enter the 3-second zone and take off with a step. Facing Enmu's defense, his hands bombarded the basket with thunderous force. Even now Carter is only a freshman, but his bouncing talent has been shown to the fullest. Enmu faced Carter, and the calf muscles contracted sharply. Bend your knees and build a defensive line in the air. The UFO bombardment has arrived, but it is turned away by Enmu's big hand. Bang! A dull sound sounded, and Vince Carter only felt an irresistible force coming from the basketball in his hand. Enmu slashed his head and covered his face with one hand in the air and gave Vince Carter a hot pot blow. His body also lost its balance because of this force. Boom! After landing, he slumped directly on the hardwood floor. Vince Carter is blocked? UFOs from North Carolina have been blocked for the first time in their lives. Can't even Vince Carter score on his head? What kind of monster is this guy? There was an incredible exclamation from the fans. After Enmu finished the block, the basketball fell into Nash's hands. The Win Sun led the team to launch a quick counterattack. After Enmu landed, he did not hesitate at all and rushed forward. After seeing the speed of his impact, the fans were shocked again. This is the sprint speed of the center? Can a 7-foot center have this speed? Fake. What about the clumsiness and slowness of a good 7-foot center? Enmu's speed was at least twice as fast as Zwick, who was on the same side as him. By the time Enmu started, Zwick was already 2 positions behind him. As time went by, the gap between the 2 positions became larger and larger. Defend well and fight back. Dean Smith stood on the outside and said to the players, "Don't give them a chance to fight back." The North Carolina players are all on hand. McNeese took the lead in stopping Nash's onslaught. Nash paused slightly on the outside. North Carolina's players breathed a sigh of relief for the time being. But the next second, a yellow lightning bolt rushed into the 3-point line. Enmu, Nash's pupil shrank, and the basketball in his hand flew towards the basket like an arm command. "Stuck him," Dean Smith shouted from the sidelines. Jamison sees the basketball's flight path and pinpoints the position. Hee, this ball was definitely a mistake. Jamison was ready to serve the ball from the back at this point. But the truth is not what he thought. Even if Jamison is now in the basket position, Enmu will not give up this attack. Enmu soared into the sky and stretched his arms in the air to receive the basketball. Even with the Jamison barrier between him and the basket, he can easily touch the basket with an arm span of 235 centimeters. Boom! Enmu's dunk is unstoppable. Under the basket, Jamison was sturdy and blocked by Enmu. Whoosh! After seeing Enmu block Carter one after another, and after blocking Jamison, the audience on the sidelines all cheered. Defeat the North Carolina Gemini. Enmu may not be exposed today. This may be a battle for him to prove his strength, Mike Bryn said. Albert beside him also said, Santa Clara University has not relied on luck until now. They are not lucky, they are strong dark horses. Continuously made the North Carolina Gemini squirmed, and Enmu's performance was instantly recognized by the fans on the sidelines. Some fans wearing North Carolina jerseys couldn't help but think at this time, it won't be North Carolina who loses today, right? When Enmu completed the septum, Zwick, who was as tall as 221 centimeters, ran to the 3-point line. Maybe this big center in North Carolina will be very passive today, Mike Bryn said in a deep voice. Enmu's height is indeed not as tall as him, but height is not the only condition that determines the direction of the game. In the first shot, the two commentators had a change in their senses about Santa Clara University. Carter gritted his teeth and looked at Enmu, who was celebrating with his teammates. Just a temptation. Now is the beginning. The belief of the Son of Heaven cannot be shaken. When McKenzie dribbled halfway, Carter asked for the ball again. Another step pass done from beyond the three-point line. Carter rushed to the basket, and Mu continued to defend the town. After reaching the basket, Carter did not continue to choose a dunk, but chose a light small throw. His bounce height and arm span meant that even Zwick couldn't interfere with his small throws during team practice. Basketball is about to reach its highest point, and Carter has a good hand on his shot this time. Definitely score. He was ready to raise his hands in celebration, but when the basketball was about to rise to its highest point, and Mu took off like a rocket, unfold the hand of the giant. Oh, there is no strong clash of palms and basketballs, but a very light grabbing action. Extreme cap grab. Pippen's eyes were already wide on the sidelines. This guy's talent is blind and visible. Carter also couldn't believe that Mu could grab himself to the limit. I must be dreaming. Young UFOs began to question the world. Steve, controlling the basketball in his hand, and Mu immediately threw the basketball into Nash's hands. The child of the wind set off a swift attack, rushed to the front court for a light layup. 4-0. Episode 42. North Carolina ball. Carr Lute's 2 consecutive attacks ended in failure. This made Dean Smith a little dissatisfied. He gestured for Carr Lute to run to the side and pull the space. Only McKenzie would then give the basketball to Jamison. Jamison was in the middle of the back position, and after getting the basketball, he played Jarvis with his back. Jarvis is a white power forward. White power forwards are generally good in the downset, and Jamison doesn't curry favor everywhere, but he immediately turned lightly and silkily past Jarvis. After Jamison turned and passed, he immediately took the ball and shot. After Carr Let suffered consecutive setbacks, Jamison did not dare to challenge Mu's height under the basket, but when he turned to look up at the basket, he didn't see it. It's Mu, this guy? When did it come? Jamison was horrified in his heart, but he was calm inside. Since Mu came to me to make up the defense, then Zwick must be empty. He hurriedly searched for Zwick, but found that Jarvis was already in front of Zwick. Defending around the front prevented Zwick from receiving basketballs at all, and Mu's defensive pressure was like a tide, rushing towards Jamison. He gave up the offense and planned to reorganize by passing the basketball to the outside again. Anyway, the NCAA offense has 35 seconds, so there's no hurry. Snap. The moment Jamison was looking for the team's point guard, ready to pass the ball, the basketball in his hand disappeared in an instant. Mu, his palm quickly sliced into the basketball and stole it. This steal happened too suddenly, and Mu picked up the basketball behind. The Santa Clara University players didn't even react. Come by yourself. Nash, the brain of Santa Clara University, was instantly wrapped up by North Carolina players. They believed that without Nash's Mu, they can only sit and wait. And Mu did not hesitate to control the ball and kill the front court. More than a month of devil training has increased Mu's ball skills a lot. At least, he won't have the fast off-ball phenomenon like Golden State Irving Thompson. The Giants of the Celestial Empire hit the front field. North Carolina was unable to stop Mu at the first time because of the wrapping of Nash. When they refreed up their manpower, Mu had already crossed the halftime line. The front court, empty, and Mu held the ball to the three-point line, and under the gaze of all the fans, he suddenly joined the ball. Question marks appeared on the faces of the fans, especially on the faces of some black fans. The question mark is unusually obvious. Isn't this center technique a little rough? How did you get on the ball at the three-point line? Yes, three-point line tie. How does he finish the offense? Start dunking at the three-point line? As soon as this person's voice fell, and Mu on the field immediately reacted. Under the gaze of all the fans, and Mu Hachio stepped on the three-point line. Then, a few steps in succession. Phew, soar into the sky, glide through the air, and rush to the basket. The faces of black fans were replaced with exclamation points. I lean on. Looks like he really can. Is this our impression of a bulky and slow center? MJ doesn't play like that, does he? MJ, in the mouths of the fans, was sitting on the sidelines at this time watching Mu's performance with wide eyes. Boom. And Mu, who started dunking at the three-point line, easily dunked the basketball into the basket with one hand after a sufficient glide. Oh my God. Mike Bryn stared at the court. This is a three-point line starting dunk? It's the only three-point line start dunk I've seen in my commentatorship. MJ may have to be careful. His title of Flying Man may not be guaranteed after Mu enters the alliance. At this time, the camera was immediately given to Jordan. The shocked expression on Jordan's face was immediately captured by the camera. Pippen whispered to Jordan, Michael, to be honest, can you do such a dunk? Jordan said without the slightest hesitation, can't. Then he added, maybe if I grow 10 centimeters taller, I can do it. But with my current height, I really can't do it. Unexpectedly, Pippen retorted rarely, if you grow 10 centimeters tall, the bouncing height will definitely drop. So you can't do it anyway. Jordan glared at Pippen. Pippen ignored Jordan's eyes. I think I'm starting to like this kid. After Jordan heard Pippen's words, he felt a little uncomfortable. He suddenly smiled weirdly. Scott, do you think that if we take you to trade in Mu this year, will it succeed? Pippen? Jordan said to himself, you see, this kid has excellent ability to protect the rim under the basket, and the speed is also very fast. and he can fully keep up with our fast attack. And most importantly, he's young. Even if I retire, the bull will continue to be brilliant. Ahem, Michael, I'm sorry. I think I said the wrong thing. I'm going to correct what I just said. I think you can make this kind of dunk at your current height. Count your acquaintances. Don't worry, I still need you. It will take several seasons to cultivate this kid. I can't afford it. At the end, Jordan added, but this kid is really good. Opening 6-0, and Mu has already scored 4 points, 2 blocks, and 1 steal. Dean Smith immediately called a timeout. Otherwise, according to the current momentum, Santa Clara University will soon be 10-0, eliminated from a small school. A giant like North Carolina will have a dull face. Vince. Remember, don't hit the basket again. That guy's movement speed is amazing. What you're going to do now is fire from the outside. You, too, Antoine. What we have to do now is to involve AMU's defense through outside shooting, so that the basket will get a chance. After laying out the tactics, Dean Smith pointed to Jordan. Senior is watching from the sidelines. Don't lose the people of North Carolina. This sentence, like chicken blood, instantly refreshed the originally somewhat silent North Carolina players. The senior is watching us from the sidelines. We can't let him down. Protect North Carolina glory. Protect North Carolina glory. Under such slogans, the morale of the North Carolina players was high and they returned to the game. Dean Smith looked at the players on the field and sighed helplessly. He just said that to give the players some motivation to play. How disappointed they would have been if they knew that Dog Day was coming to Santa Clara University. Dog Day. Looking at Jordan, Dean Smith cursed again. Jordan sat on the sidelines and sneezed. North Carolina ball. Cards, outside 3 threats. After a fake breakthrough action, suddenly a 3-pointer. Oh, goal scored. 6-3. It's just a 6-point lead, and 2 3-pointers are chased back. After the was thrown in, it was very relaxed. Of the 4 quarterbacks, Kuroko is the best in terms of 3-pointers alone. Whether it's hit percentage or number of shots, Colt crushes everyone else. When he retired, he raised his 3-point shooting to 7th in NBA history. The other side, Nash immediately fought back. Can you shoot 3-pointers? I'm sorry, so can I, and I voted better than you. After a block with Mu on the outside, Nash gained space to shoot. Zwick, in order to guard against AMU's subordination, did not raise to stop Nash. Nash hits the ball. Oh, goal scored. 9-3. In the following time, Santa Clara University and North Carolina were in full swing. In terms of lineup, Santa Clara University is indeed inferior to the Giants, North Carolina, but even so, thanks to the excellent play of Mu and Nash, Santa Clara University has also maintained a lead of more than 5 points. And Mu's power on the inside line made all the North Carolina staff terrified. On the offensive end, he is the most furious Mjolnir. On the defensive end, he is the most stable fixed sea god needle. By halftime, Mu had 18 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 blocks. Nash also had an 8-point, 8-assist performance. After switching to attack, Carr showed a comeback, scoring 13 points in the first half. Jamison also scored 8 points. At the end of the first half, Santa Clara University was 40-35, 5 points ahead of North Carolina. Being able to lead North Carolina by 5 points at halftime is enough to prove that Santa Clara is excellent. However, Dick David was not satisfied. At halftime, David called Mu to his side. And, your defensive mission is about to change. Episode 43. After the second half starts, you have to switch places with Jarvis. Let Jarvis go to the inside rim, and you go to the mid-range area to assist. The scoring area of the first half of the game was basically in the middle distance. Jarvis was moving too slowly to have any effect on Kate. Therefore, David is ready to free and move from the basket. Let him constantly go to the middle distance to make up the defense. Hearing this, Mu nodded and said, no problem. But under the basket, Jarvis may not be able to cope with Zwick. After all, that guy has 221 centimeters. David had thought of it a long time ago, and he looked at Mu with a solemn face. So, your mission is not just to defend Jamison, but also to assist with Kate's offense. While completing the above tasks, you also have to pay attention to the Zwick under the basket at all times. Jarvis has good down-to-back strength to withstand Zwick for a while, and you have to form a bag with Jarvis before Zwick attacks. That said, Mu's task on the defensive end in the second half of the game is extremely important. Mitchell A. asked worriedly, and, do you have a problem with your physical strength? If you haven't rested well, take another break in the second half. He said, and Mu didn't rest for a minute in the first half. And Mu smiled and said, don't worry, I have no problem. He is still very reassuring about his physical strength. Zwick didn't consume much for him today. Good, David said in a deep voice, everything that follows depends on you. And, hold on, don't worry, coach. David then turned to look at Nash. Steve, what about your physical strength? Nash gasped and wiped his sweat with a towel. Don't worry, and weighs and is more tall than me, and he can keep playing. I'm okay too. At halftime, the match between the two sides started again. North Carolina ball. Kate held the ball on the outside and used the block to pass Dunn. Hit mid-range and was about to make a jump shot. Today his projection end is completely open. He felt that today he was simply Jordan, within the middle distance area. Even if it's a three-pointer, he can shoot very accurately. Jump, stay in the air, flick the wrist, shoot. The shooting action is extremely fluid. This goal must be scored. Kathier has plenty of confidence in herself, but he obviously didn't realize that a figure on his side quickly came to make up for it. Snap. The basketball just shot, directly fanned by Enmu's big hat. Reinforcement from Enmu, just right. Mike Bryn's short evaluation has shown Enmu's excellent defensive awareness to all the audience. The basketball is fanned off the court, and it is still the ball of North Carolina. Steady the rhythm, steady the rhythm. Dean Smith loosened his tie with his hands. To be honest, it was one of the toughest games he had ever played in his coaching career. The last time it was so tough was the 1982 NCAA final with Georgetown. In that game, Patrick Ewing completely dominated the inside and made North Carolina play very hard. But in the final seconds, Jordan's final shot allowed North Carolina to win that game. It was also the first the shot of Jordan's career. The second the shot was that three-pointer against the Jazz in the '98 finals. Medea. Smith suddenly cursed in his heart. How could he remember that dog day again? No way. Jordan of Dog Day has too high a status in Smith's heart. Jordan occupies half of all the classic games in North Carolina. North Carolina reissued the sideline ball, and McKennis organized the ball on the outside. Time passes slowly. In the final 11 seconds, shooting guard Krabia rushed out to catch the ball. After taking the ball, he immediately broke through. Marlon Garnett, who was opposite him, seemed to be possessed by Karl Malone and Kevin Garnett. At this time, he didn't say sorry for his name. Forcefully blocked Krabia's breakthrough while reaching out to stab the basketball away. After a scramble, Jamison got the basketball from beyond the three-point line. There are only 3 seconds left. It's too late. Jamison raced against the clock and hit a three-pointer with the ball. Enmu, liberated from the basket, gave full play to his mobility. Take a big step inside the three-point line and fly head-on. Bang! Like a smash, the basketball that had just been thrown by Jamison was directly smashed by Enmu to the floor behind Jamison. Enmu had already flown behind Jamison when he landed. Reach for the basketball and attack the front court with the ball. Stepping into the free throw line, the windmill dunks to end the quick attack. 1 attack and 1 defense. Show off your superstar talent. I think the scouts here should raise Enmu's draft prediction a little more. Mike Bryn has been conquered by Enmu's violent play. We can see that Enmu's defensive range seems to be not limited to the basket. Albert is a veteran narrator. He has been commentating on the game since the 60s and is very sensitive to the situation on the field. When Enmu left the basket and extended his defense to within the three-point line, AMU said, "We were surprised to find that Santa Clara University's defensive threat has risen a notch again, and the improvement of their defensive threat all comes from Enmu. He's just a moving wall. Wherever he is needed, he will be there as soon as possible. He's not just physical, he's also very defensive and has a great ball business." Scouts need to change their eyes. Spectator seats. Scouts from NBA teams scribbled on their notebooks. As many basketball commentators have said, this game is the game that really tests Enmu's strength. In those previous matches, the opponent's level was too low. Enmu only needs to use his physical talent to blast his opponent. But this game against North Carolina was different. North Carolina has excellent tactics, excellent squad depth, and the presence of an experienced manager. Enmu can play well in this game, which is really outstanding. Now, halfway through the game, the scouts have really seen Enmu's strength. He did not have any regression in strength due to the increase in the difficulty of the game. On the contrary, the more you fight, the more courageous. In the past, his defensive range was basically within the box. Now, within the three-point line, it is all Enmu's defensive range. It can even be said that Enmu's performance in today's game is even better than any previous abnormal game. Strong win strong? Some scouts have the word in their minds. And the scouts from the Celtics turned the notebook directly to the first page. At the top of the first page, there's a big roster of draft players he tracks. In this, the potential of the players is graded. For example, the current Vince Kate, the rating is A. Jamison is A. Nash is AB+. His gaze moved to Enmu's name, A+. In the Celtics draft rating, Enmu's potential rating is A+. It is a more outstanding existence than Kate. However, is the ability shown by Enmu in this game really only A+? He had followed Cardinal Auerbach on expeditions to Bill Russell, Larry Bird, McHale, Parrish, and Bias. As Celtics' most senior scout, he began to hesitate. His gaze slowly moved upward. In fact, above the A+ grade, there is another level, S. In the list of S-class, lies a name, Tim Duncan. He looked at Enmu's name and rank. In the end, a decision was made: cross out A+ and replace it with S. Now, on his draft roster, there are 2 S-rated college players. Give the ball to Zwick. On the sidelines, Dean Smith thoughtfully began to command the players. Enmu's defensive range is out of the basket. Then it is time for the 221cm Zwick hammer Jarvis. Zwick received the ball under the basket and immediately hit Jarvis on the back. Jarvis withstood Zwick's 2 back hits, and the third back hit him really couldn't withstand it. Zwick smiled easily and was about to hook his hand. "Hey! Hello. A ghostly voice reached Zwick's hand. Zwick looked at Enmu with ghostly eyes. Oh, my god. Didn't this guy just get pulled to the three-point line by Jameson? How did he get back? Just when he was surprised, Enmu had already reached out and took out the basketball in his hand. Marlon Garnett sprinted down to the front. Enmu held a long ball in one hand. The quarterback long pass from the Giants of the Celestial Empire. Touchdown. Touchdown score. Garnett hung up on the basket and shouted excitedly, "Oh, and nice pass." After the Celtic scouts saw Enmu's performance this time, they looked at Enmu's S-grade rating. Well, you can get such an evaluation just by defending. Tim Duncan can get an S-class because he is good in attack and defense. But Enmu got an S-grade evaluation, relying only on the defensive ability he has shown now. The first part of the second half was the same as at the beginning of the game. North Carolina's rhythm is once again bogged down. Dean Smith paused several times to adjust the way the team played, but none of it worked. In the second half, MU's defense dominated Pepsi Center. Single defense, assisted defense, misplaced defense. 18 martial arts are proficient. When there are only 3 minutes left in the game, Santa Clara University leads North Carolina by 18 points 88-70. Scott, I'm looking forward to what this kid will look like when he enters the league. I'll detain him and say to him, "Rookie, welcome to the NBA." What kind of expression do you say he will have? Jordan said as he chewed gum and leaned back in his chair. It will definitely be very interesting. Pippen began to imagine that scene as well. His words turned again, but it's not so easy to want to isolate him. Jordan said easily, there is no place where a flyer can't fly. If there is, then fly again. He stood up and patted Pippen on the shoulder. Let's go. Pippen was stunned for a moment. The game is not over yet. Don't you say hello to Coach Smith before leaving? Jordan smiled and said, hello? I'm going to hit you. I'm sure he's trying to skin me with cramps right now. After speaking, the two stood up and left the scene early. Dean Smith saw Jordan standing up in the front row, began to curse my beloved disciple in my heart. Broomstar of Dog Day. If you don't come, I can definitely win. Episode 44. Let's congratulate Santa Clara University for beating North Carolina in today's game. Successfully entered the Elite Eight. In this game, AMU and all the players of Santa Clara University proved one thing with their own strength. They are real dark horses. They are not the lucky ones. The University of North Carolina is in the top 16 this year, but we believe that their record will be even further next year. The two commentators explained the general situation of this game completely. After the match, the players of both sides gave high fives and exited. And Mu came to Ka, Tay, Vince, beat me? Car, Leet was taunted by Mu. You are very powerful, but I will be stronger next time we meet. Ka said unconvinced. And Mu said, then you have to hurry into the NBA. I will participate in the draft this year. What? Ka glanced at Enmu in surprise. Participate in the draft this year? Enmu nodded reasonably. Yes, I will participate in the draft this year. Anyway, now the NCAA doesn't have any strong opponents. Come on, Car. And shook his head helplessly. He originally thought that Enmu would continue to stay in the university to hone his skills. But I didn't expect that Enmu would enter the NBA directly. But think about it, if this guy is in the draft, there is nothing wrong with the lotto show. NBA drafts have been unusually favored for big men since ancient times. Even the basketball god Jordan was crushed by Olajuwon and Sam Bowie, a big man who retired after playing a few seasons in the NBA, when he drafted that year. Keep up the good work next season, college student. And Mu smiled and gave a high five. In this game, Quet scored 18 points. That's a very good statistic for him. However, 13 of those 18 points were scored in the first half. By the time MU's defensive range expanded beyond the box in the second half, Kerr's shooting percentage dropped sharply. The price of Carr scoring 5 points in the second half was 9 shots. 5 points from 9 shots, which is a shameless efficiency. And Enmu's efficiency in this game is amazing. 35 points, 21 rebounds, and 13 blocks. Another triple-double for blocks. Nash's stats are also very impressive. He has 14 points and 17 assists. Of these, 12 assists were taken from Enmu's body. The talent of this excellent point guard was vividly displayed after the arrival of Enmu. The North Carolina people, who lost the game, returned to the dressing room, disheartened. Dean Smith knocked on the tactical board. It's just a failure. It doesn't matter. Even MJ has lost games. But he wasn't as depressed as you guys. Hearing this, Carr looked up at the head coach and asked, so how did MJ do it? After losing that year, he practiced like crazy in the summer. It's not the alarm clock that wakes the doorman every morning to open the door, it's MJ. It's not the bell that puts the doorman to sleep every night that locks the door, but MJ. The doormen in the team's training hall are going crazy from him. In the end, I had no choice but to give him a key. Finally managed to help North Carolina lift the trophy after one season. Tons and tons of tons. Dean Smith poured a bucket of chicken soup into the North Carolina players. Hiccup. After Smith said these words, it was as if he heard the sound of the players being fed chicken soup. Coach, I will also practice in the summer. Carr said with a firm look in his eyes, I want to improve my strength. I want to enter the NBA quickly. The next time I see that guy, I'm going to beat him hard. I believe I will be no worse than the senior. Dean Smith looked at Carr Met with relief. At the same time, I was also frantically spitting on Jordan in my heart. North Carolina failed and flew back to their North Carolina state. The Santa Clara University players remained in Denver. The 8-4 game will still be played at the Pepsi Center. This match, Santa Clara University's opponent will appear in another match tomorrow. After the match between Santa Clara University and North Carolina, PepsiCo Center is still playing a game Connecticut versus Massachusetts. The most famous star of the two teams, Ray Allen versus Marcus Camby. The winner of this match will be Santa Clara University's 8-4 opponent. In this game, Mu and Nash specially came to the sidelines to watch the game. At the start of the race, Ray Allen's front sight was terrifying. 2 consecutive three-pointers went straight to Massachusetts. However, then Camby made a threat on the inside. Consecutive singles on the inside while also guarding the rim several times to stop Connecticut from attacking the basket. His status as a big hit is really not covered. Although it was blasted by Mu, everyone knows it now. Camby was blown up by Mu, not because Camby was too weak. It's because Mu is too strong. Look at the last game. Zwick's 221 centimeters giant was chased and beaten by Mu. With Camby at the same height as Mu, it makes sense that he can't defeat him. Under the basket that Camby guarded, Connecticut players couldn't get in. The sideline commentator commented after Camby came with a nailboard hat. Maybe because of Mu's sideline watching the battle, the anger in Marcus Camby's heart was completely aroused. He played his best today on both the offensive and defensive ends. Maybe the arrival of Mu will prompt the University of Massachusetts to win this game. First half of the game, Ray Allen scored 14 points. But Mr. Camby also had 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 blocks. In the first half, Massachusetts led Connecticut by 4 points at 33-29. At halftime, Camby's eyes kept staring at Mu. I'm definitely going to play this game. Tomorrow, I will stand in front of you again, prove to you, Marcus Camby, am not much worse than you. Camby had a burning anger inside. After halftime, the match between the two sides started again. Ray Allen started the second half when suddenly Carey's team, shooting inside and out, slashing 11 points in 5 minutes. In an instant, the University of Connecticut took a 5-point lead. Seeing this, Camby naturally could not agree. You know, his goal this year is Mu. This became the obsession in Camby's heart, so he singled continuously under the basket, playing Connecticut center in a row. With 7 minutes left in the second half, Connecticut's starting center was full of offenses, and the score of the two teams has returned to the same starting line. Camby played well today, and Mu commented. Nash grinned, that's because Connecticut's center is too weak. Their center is too slow, but Ray Allen played very well. When Connecticut's starting center came off the court, the last barrier on their interior was shattered. Camby was on the inside, and the pace of the game in Connecticut came to a complete standstill. By the last 5 minutes, it was Ray Allen alone. Ray Allen went crazy at this time, and for the last 5 minutes, one person continued to carry the whole team. By the last offense, Massachusetts had just a 1-point lead. Connecticut's final attack, Ray Allen broke through to the middle distance with the ball, and suddenly the ball stopped to shoot. Unfortunately, he was disturbed by Camby and did not enter. For the full game, Ray Allen recorded 36 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. It was his best performance in March Madness, but he still couldn't make progress with the team. It's time for the draft. After losing this game, Ray Allen had decided to participate in the NBA draft. Bring your talent to the NBA, and Camby today cut down 30 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 blocks. If fans don't pay attention, they will think that this is Mu's data. This is also his best performance since entering March Madness. Many people believe that Camby's ability to play this data is related to Mu's observation of the battle on the sidelines, and Mu's stimulation made him score at least 10 more points. This is what Ray Allen said in an interview with reporters after the game. Connecticut lost the game, and the University of Massachusetts managed to make it into the Elite Eight. After the game, Camby looked at Mu from a distance. Cutting 30 plus 15 plus 7 data gave Camby's confidence a boost. Wait for me, Camby said to Mu with his mouth shape. And, what's going to happen next time? And Mu and Nash chatted casually as they exited. Be conservative, I'll beat him. How do you say that is not conservative? Don't say it conservatively. Toilet flashlight looking for death. Episode 45. Ray Allen missed the kill. Massachusetts reached the elite quarterfinals. This made Marcus Camby's fame rise a lot again. At the same time as Camby's fame grew, many fans are also starting to look forward to one thing. I think when I was in the warm-up game, Camby was abused by Mu. It has been half a year since that time. In the past 6 months, what level has Camby's strength improved? When he met Mu again, could he give Mu enough to fight back? This season, Camby's performance is not bad at all. Averaged 22 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks per game. That's good enough for the NCAA. It is enough to say that he is an offensive and defensive integration. But Mu, who is about to oppose Camby, is surrounded by him in all directions in terms of data. Enmu averaged 31 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 blocks per game this season. Hit rate up to 77%. This is the existence that Camby wants to look up to. In recent days, the Denver Nuggets road record doesn't matter. All Denver basketball fans are discussing one thing: Enmu versus Camby. Exactly, is Camby's successful revenge? Or did Enmu have the last laugh? As time goes by, the time to unravel the mystery is getting closer. Finally, March 24th, PepsiCo Center. The NCAA 8-4 game will be held that evening. Before the game starts, the Massachusetts locker room. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Camby was sitting in front of his closet, taking a deep breath. This season has come. He has practiced hard day and night, in order to avenge. Today, this opportunity has finally come. What celestial giants? What O'Neal Terminator? In today's game, I will beat it. Camby was under a lot of pressure, but at the same time, he is more motivated. He had to prove one thing to all the scouts in the game. Marcus Camby is more powerful than Enmu. Marcus, you can. Calipari, the head coach of the University of Massachusetts, came to him. He patted his disciple on the shoulder to soothe his nervousness. Camby smiled. Coach, I will do my best in this game. Well, I'm sure you'll win, Calipari said with a smile. Everything is going on at a set pace. The race is about to start. Both sides enter the jump ball session. Camby versus Enmu. From the beginning of the game, it was a collision between two giants. In terms of jumping ball, Enmu has never been afraid of anyone. When you face Wick on the pitch, it's easy to win. This time against Camby, it was even easier. Bang! The moment the referee threw the basketball into the sky, Enmu immediately slapped the basketball into Nash's hand. But Enmu suddenly felt that something was wrong. It seems that Camby didn't play his full strength just now. Why? There was no time to think about it, and Enmu immediately rushed towards the front field after landing. But he was immediately blocked by Camby. Oh? When Mike Bryn saw the situation on the field, he smiled. Camby just gave up the jump ball, because he wants to stop Enmu's quick attack after the jump ball. He's smart. After Enmu's quick attack was stopped, he also understood the joints. This guy is indeed smart. But can this just stop you? The answer is impossible. Enmu was in hand-to-hand combat with Camby, still rushing towards the basket. Camby played all his strength and followed Enmu's side deadly. It's a vicious battle. Before the game started, Camby prepared himself for the shot. Today, even if he is carried down on a stretcher, he must do everything possible to prevent Enmu. The vertical direction cannot be broken. Enmu suddenly moved horizontally, and his traverse speed was very fast. After 2 consecutive horizontal strides, he immediately distanced himself from Camby. It then accelerates towards the front. Good fellow. After seeing Enmu's running move, the blue tendons on Calipari's head jumped. Isn't this a shooter's run to get rid of the action? It turned out to be used here by a center? It's a bit ironic. Calipari felt bad in his heart. When Camby is passed, there is no one in Massachusetts to stop Enmu. Steve. Enmu pointed to the basket, and Nash immediately understood. Wait until Enmu's distance is suitable, and immediately pass the ball. Boom. Enmu hung the frame again. This guy's strength is also terrible. Marcus gave up the jump ball, but he was able to finish the opening quick attack. The rest of the Massachusetts players were completely stunned by his superb escape skills, so they didn't make up for him in the first place. To be honest, looking at his escape skills, I think if he is 10 centimeters lowered, he might be a very good off-ball running shooter. Simply unstoppable. It seems that the opening quick attack has become a regular tactic at Santa Clara University. Offense and defense switched. Massachusetts point guard possession over half. Camby's mentality has matured a bit now. After halftime at the point guard, he didn't immediately ask for the ball. The outside line honestly played a block, meticulously executing the team's tactics. The point guard breaks through with the help of a block. Enmu went to delay. Camby immediately cut inside the line, and he violently knocked away Jarvis, who was blocking his inner cut, and opened his hand to the point guard to ask for the ball. The Massachusetts point guard passed the ball immediately. Camby catches the ball and jumps with both hands ready to dunk. Bang! Nailboard big hat, although late but arrived. Enmu's movement speed is not like a human, and he sent a block to Marcus Camby for the first time. Santa Clara University number 0 jersey flutters in the air, made an indelible impression on Marcus Camby. Counterattack. Santa Clara pushed for a counterattack, and Nash held the ball from the outside to assist Marlon Garnett to make a layup. Marcus Camby's form seems a bit sluggish today. The opening game was unsuccessful to stop Enmu's quick attack, and the inside cut dunk was not successful. He needs to reflect on himself. Mike Bryn's voice just fell. On the court, the University of Massachusetts small forward rushed to the basket with the ball. Enmu soared into the sky, and the frame protection divine beast was online again. Snap! Fan the basketball violently. At this time, Camby just picked up the basketball. After getting the basketball, he was in no hurry. The layup fake action intended to shake Enmu away, and then turned around and made a light small hook. but Enmu was not deceived by his fake actions at all. Phew, he has captured Campy's actions. Intercept your arms in the air and pluck the basketball out of the air like a coconut. 3 caps a minute? Mike Bryn felt that something was wrong. Isn't this 8 into 4? Why is the current situation even more outrageous than when he played 16 and 8 in the North Carolina? People in North Carolina don't send 3 blocks at the beginning. Campy practiced for a season and then came to give away the head? One such thought floated through McBulen's mind. Nash held the ball to push the counterattack, and Mu followed closely and made a block for Nash on the outside line for the first time. Copper wall and iron wall. Nash used the block to shake off the defender. Get an empty spot and don't hesitate to shoot. Oh, hit. Santa Clara University is fighting back too fast. The rhythm is not dragging in the slightest. Their offense reminds me of the Warriors, just 60 kilometers away from them. The Run TMC group that old Nelson took over. T. Tim Hardaway. M. Mitch Richmond. C. Chris Mullin. These 3 people impress me. Mike Bryn suddenly brought up the Golden State Warriors. His partner, Albert, suddenly said, the Warriors have been swinging this season. They seem to be planning to choose Enmu in this year's draft. If Enmu gets the Warriors, then the Run TMC of the past seems to be able to reproduce. And old Nelson has just been fired from New York. It seems that there is still a chance to coach the Warriors. When the two talked about old Nelson, they suddenly began to laugh. Because the old guy made a proposal mid-season, trade Ewing for O'Neal. Then it was sprayed to death by fans in New York. Knicks management was pressured to fire Nelson Sr. Now old Nelson is unemployed at home. Episode 46. The opening wave was 7-0. Santa Clara University directly confused Massachusetts. Camby looked even more incredulous. Medea, did you take the script wrong? What about revenge? What about a good snowfall? Say yes to prove yourself? Today, now, in addition to being abused, he is abused. Of the 3 caps that Massachusetts gave to Enmu in the opening scene, he himself accounted for 2. Marcus. Keep faith 1 inch. It's only been a minute since the game started. Calipari shouted at Campy to find Campy's lost faith. Campy was shocked when he heard Calipari's words. It's only 1 minute to start. I'm so sensitive. He shook his head and shook the unrealistic thoughts out of his mind. Offense and defense conversion, Massachusetts ball. After holding the ball over half, the point guard directly broke through Nash and shot from mid-range. Oh, basketball strikes iron. Campy jammed Enmu under the basket. Humph. Sure enough, it's only a short-term strength, Camby thought after jamming Enmu behind him. Now, didn't I get stuck and you got the front court rebound? Camby jammed Enmu and jumped up and stretched out his arms to protect the rebound. But Enmu, who was obviously stuck behind him, jumped even higher than him at this time. At the moment when Camby was about to grab the rebound, Enmu pointed the basketball into the sky again. After landing a lightning-fast double jump, reach out again and easily reach the rebound. The basketball is handed to Nash, who carries the ball forward. Enmu rushed to the front and quickly landed. Steve, after asking for the ball in the low position, Enmu asked Nash for the ball. Nash passed the ball, and Enmu played with the ball on his back. First impact. Camby felt like his heart had been hammered by Mjolnir. Bang! The force of Enmu's impact made him feel extremely depressed. Bang! Bang! The next 2 impacts grew in increasing force. Camby retreats from consecutive defeats. Enmu rushed directly to the basket like a bulldozer. Turn around and jump, the dragon is in the sky. Distance Camby with your right hand and swing your left hand with one arm towards the basket. Boom! Camby was crushed by Enmu again. Marcus, can you stand it? After Enmu landed, he yelled at Camby furiously. If you can't stand it, just tell me. I'll lighten it. Lady Cannon, Kenru Tong suffered a great humiliation, and his eyes were bloodshot. He looked at Enmu. Don't be proud too early. Enmu chose to ignore Campy. Do you know what I'm thinking now? Campy was stunned. What are you thinking? I'm already thinking about my opponent for the next round. You say, our next round opponent will be AI or Marbury? What does this mean? Doesn't that mean, have you won? Who do you look down on? In the next round, it's not you guys fighting. After Campy dropped a sentence coldly, he immediately turned back to defense. Offense and defense switch, Massachusetts offense. They've been going on for several rounds without scoring. This time, can they successfully score? Campy held the ball low, knowing that his strength could not compete with Enmu Xiong. So I used my dream footsteps to practice for a season. Holding the ball on his back, he suddenly turned to face the frame, and the basketball in his hand went towards the basket. Phew! Enmu was like a rocket rising into the air. Light up! Campy was extremely excited inside. Sure enough, it's a reckless man, just a jumping man. Jump when you meet a fake action. Camby did not pause, and immediately half turned around and hooked his hand. At this time Enmu just landed. At the moment when Camby made a small hook, the second jump rose into the air again. The horror of the chosen body is once again unfolded. The second jump is no worse than the height of the first jump. Horror bullet speed plus horror arm span equals volleyball cap. Enmu waved his hand and fanned the basketball directly out of the court. Terrifying. This is the 3rd block that Camby has received under Enmu's hands. As the game went on, it seemed like I could already be sure of one thing. Mike Bryn said, it's not that Camby is in a bad state today, but that Enmu surrounded him in all directions. Enmu's defense is like a glove. Camby simply can't break through Amu's defense. Enmu volleyball big hat fan flying basketball. Santa Clara University fought back. Nash hit the ground and passed the ball to Amu. Enmu single-handedly held the ball and raised the fire to the sky and slashed Mount Everest. 11-0. Pause. Calipari couldn't stand it anymore and immediately called a timeout. Looking at the players who returned to the bench, he said seriously, "Next, Marcus, you reduce your proportion in the attack. More to use their own offensive threats to involve Enmu. Defensively, wrap Amu. We can't let him continue like this." After a short setup, the game starts again. Massachusetts ball. The shooting guard gets a three-point shot after running and shoots directly. 11-3. Massachusetts seems to have found its own rhythm of the game. Hopefully they can keep it going. In the following period, Camby's offensive scenes were almost non-existent. He's more about covering his teammates, grabbing rebounds, and rim guards. After the transformation, Camby turned out to be a little more efficient than Camby with the ball, and the rhythm of the University of Massachusetts seems to be slowly returning to a normal rhythm. There were only 30 seconds left in the first half. Santa Clara ball. They have 30 seconds of plenty of time to carry out this attack. The NCAA 35-second offensive turn-based system is used to hone players' tactical awareness. In 30 seconds, you can run out of a good tactic. Stop them. Guard against them. Calipari on the sidelines would not have allowed Santa Clara University to score this goal in any way. Nash held the ball and made a gesture. Santa Clara University players started running, but the University of Massachusetts players are like cowhide candies that don't give Santa Clara any chance. Time passed slowly, with only 10 seconds left. Still no chance. Nash was going to attack on his own. However, at this time Enmu suddenly asked Nash for the ball in a low position. Nash did not hesitate and immediately passed the basketball to Enmu's hands. After spending so much time together, Nash knew that Enmu never did anything he was not sure of. Trap him. Wrap him. Calipari on the sidelines pointed at Enmu and shouted. Camby defended behind Amu. On either side of AMU's body, the University of Massachusetts power forwards and small forwards came to encircle. Three-person bag. After seeing the bag that Enmu encountered, all the fans at the scene were amazed. The University of Massachusetts is crazy. Three-person bag clip. The outside line is full of holes, and Amu's passing can be very easy. At this time, Jarvis and Dunn were ready to receive the ball from Enmu's hands. However, a smile appeared at the corner of Enmu's mouth. Three-person bag clip? It's time to give Hammer of Destruction a try. Both hands grasped the basketball hard, and the calf muscles contracted sharply. The momentum of the sky is unstoppable. The back frame jumped, and the air turned into a face frame, and Enmu's arms were like hammer handles, and the basketball was like a hammerhead. Hammer of Destruction. Thor's hammer is coming. Boom. The superdimensional power carried by God's chosen body, plus Iron Hammer of Destruction, was madly cathartic on the basket. Duh. The furious giant finished the dunk, and the basketball hoop at Pepsi Center hissed. Look at the basketball hoop again, but found a terrifying scene. Basketball hoops, crashing down. What the fuck? Oh my godness. Are you kidding me? The fans said something different, but they all reflected the same meaning. Crazy, right? Fake, right? The basketball hoop was buckled by Enmu. At this time, the fans' eyes were still on the basketball hoop. However, the cameramen pointed their cameras at Enmu, because, in his hand, he grasped the basket. Episode 47. Even McBullen, who has always been clever, didn't know how to explain it after seeing the current situation. Pepsi Center, an NBA standard-level basket, was directly deducted by Enmu, since the Shaquille O'Neal wreaked havoc on the basket several times in succession, causing the game to be suspended. The NBA reinforced the basket, and even the Shaquille O'Neal never dunked the rebound again, and the basketball hoop was never dunked again. But today, a giant from his first year of college wreaked havoc on the basket with his furious power. Moreover, he not only dunked the rebound, but also the basketball hoop. Not only did he dunk the basketball hoop, he also grabbed the basket in his own hands. How horrible is this? Isn't this much more brutal than O'Neal? All the fans watching the game gasped. At this time, Mike Bryn's voice also came out leisurely. I believe everyone is no stranger to this scene, because in the video of the hot hole meter a month ago, Enmu also once dunked the basketball hoop. At that time, everyone thought that the basketball hoop was in disrepair, so it could easily be knocked down. But today, Enmu explained one thing to us with his performance. He can really dunk the basketball hoop down. Moreover, he also dragged the basket directly off the backboard and took it in his own hands. Mike Bryn's words made the fans' eyes converge on Enmu's palm again. The basket that he was holding at this time that fell off the basketball hoop seemed to speak for itself. After Camby saw Enmu's brutal performance, his legs began to tremble. Is this still human? Enmu was facing a bag of 3 people just now. What did he do after the bag of 3 people? Take off, turn around in midair, and directly buckle at the 3 people. It's impossible even if O'Neal comes. None of the 4 centers could accomplish such a feat. However, all this played out truthfully on Enmu's body. It's terrible. Camby's eyes were full of fear. In the first half of the game, although he played very hard, he never felt this powerlessness in his heart. But since Enmu dunked the basket and pulled down the basket, he felt that something in his heart had collapsed. This thing is called faith, or rather, it is called defeating Enmu's obsession. Camby began to doubt himself. Can a player of Enmu's strength be able to beat by himself? Nope. I can't beat it. Camby was already in despair. After Enmu finished the dunk, the first half of the game was over. The game goes into halftime. Therefore, there is no need to stop the live game. 1 halftime break should be enough for the staff to finish replacing the basketball hoop. And that basket. A staff member walked up to Enmu and pointed to the basket in Enmu's hand. Oh, here you go. Enmu reached out and handed the basket in his hand to the staff. The staff took the basket in Enmu's hand with some trembling. Looking at Enmu's muscles like steel pouring, watching the green tendons on the muscles exposed. The staff now has only one idea. If he punches me, will I go to the hospital? Should. Can't get in, right? Maybe it was sent straight to the funeral home. The staff began replacing the basketball hoop, and the cameraman desperately began all kinds of shooting. They all wanted to highlight Enmu's domineering button just now. And, are you possessed by the Hulk or Captain America? Nash walked up to Enmu and asked uncertainly. To be honest, he was really scared by Enmu just now. Enmu thought for a while. Just now it was Iron Hammer of Destruction. If there is a name for the domineering middle two, it is Destruction Thor's hammer. Steve, I'm actually possessed by Thor. To be honest, I was really scared by you just now. Nash is not unseen of Enmu dunk and smash the rebound. He had also seen the dunks of basketball hoops. The incident in San Antonio will become the talk of Nash for a lifetime. However, today Enmu seems to have been fully upgraded. The arrangement smashed the rebound, not only dunked the basketball hoop, but he even dragged the basket directly. Unheard. Never seen before. Until today, he didn't know that he had opened his eyes. When the basketball hoop is replaced, the second half of the game begins. Massachusetts, who could barely play back and forth with Santa Clara University in the first half, suddenly lost all form in the second half. Camby is even more wandering. It seems that our poor Marcus Camby was scared by Enmu's dunk. I hope he won't have nightmares tonight. In the second half, Camby lost all of his form. Enmu completely exploded the small universe in his heart. Hammer after hammer at the University of Massachusetts basket. After only 5 minutes of the second half, Camby had already committed 4 fouls. In the NCAA league, players who commit 5 fouls are ejected. If Massachusetts is still struggling, it's time to replace Camby, but Calipari seemed to have broken a bit and left Camby on the field. 6:58 of the second half. Santa Clara offensive round. Enmu asked for the ball in a low position, and Camby directly hugged Enmu with both hands. When the referee saw this, the whistle blew 2 seconds late. Active foul? Active foul, with 4 fouls on your back. I've never seen anything like this in my referee's career. Beep. The whistle will be late, but never absent. Marcus Camby received his 5th foul and was ejected from the field. When he left the court, he did not have any dissatisfaction with the referee. There is even some gratitude to the referee in my heart. It's finally time to leave this embarrassing place. After returning to the dressing room, Camby lay on the carpet in the dressing room and covered his face with a towel. It seems that Marcus Camby no longer has the confidence to continue fighting. His mentality was shattered by Enmu. Albert said, "It's crazy for Camby. I think this game could have an impact on his career." His words are correct. Because when Camby actively fouled and walked off the field, scouts had already begun to record in their notebooks. Improper professional attitude, take the initiative to withdraw in the face of difficulties. Such an evaluation will make his draft market drop a lot. NBA selection is not only based on talent, but also on personality. Only with hard work can you become a superstar. For example, Enmu on the field, his performance throughout the game was showing his hard work and confidence. This is the best player template. Speaking of templates, some scouts are starting to feel helpless. Although Enmu is at the top of the draft list, his draft template has not been booked. Bill Russell? Chamberlain? O'Neal? No. None of this fits. Therefore, now Enmu's draft template is still blank. In other words, this is a man without a template. Camby is down, and Massachusetts is no longer able to help. Soon, Massachusetts abandoned the game. Replace the starter, replace the substitute. Enmu and Nash also sat on the sidelines to rest. This so-called strong dialogue with Camby. Enmu cut down 41 points, 21 rebounds, and 15 blocks. Nash had 11 points, 4 rebounds, and 15 assists. Santa Clara University beats the University of Massachusetts by 40 points, 100-60. It seems that there are almost no big men in the NCAA to compete with Enmu now. Nope. And one more, Marcus Camby failed. But there's Tim Duncan. That guy is better than Camby. His technique is also more delicate. I think if there is anyone in the NCAA who can beat Enmu now, it is Duncan. After picking out Massachusetts, Santa Clara made it to the Final Four. Once again, they set a new record in team history, and is on the way to the championship. Episode 48. Dunk the basketball hoop, dunk the rebound, dunk the hoop. Is this still human? Atlanta, Zhang Weiping gasped as he looked at the newspaper in front of him. In front of him, there are many newspapers, and these newspapers have one characteristic: coverage about Santa Clara versus Massachusetts. Similarly, the headlines are exaggerated one by one. Hulk possessed. Basket destroyer. Nightmare strikes. Marcus Campbell's nightmare. 4-0 plus 20 plus 15. Celestial Giants dominate the NCAA. Marcus Campbell, I choose to surrender. Shoo. Director Zhang gasped. He had just arrived in Atlanta this morning. Although it is known that now the United States is making the NCAA March Madness, but he didn't know much about Enmu's situation. If it weren't for the fact that this time 5 sets sent him to Atlanta to shoot some material for this year's Olympics, he would never have known about these things. In fact, since Chinese New Year's Eve Enmu's news was reported in China, some domestic basketball fans are very concerned about Enmu. Some of Zhang Weiping's old colleagues are inquiring about Enmu. However, Zhang Weiping is also helpless, because I only heard rumors about Enmu when I was reporting All-Star that time. Even, he hadn't really seen Enmu. This time when he came to the United States, he bought several newspapers on the street. Boy, it is directly about the overwhelming reports of Enmu. This made Zhang Weiping very excited. It is very rare that the people of the Celestial Empire can play such results in the NCAA. In the NCAA Collegiate League, reached the Final Four. It has been proved that Enmu's basketball level is among his peers and has reached the pinnacle position. At this time, Su Jiping also came to Zhang Weiping's side. After seeing the newspaper, he widened his eyes and said in shock, "Good fellow, Lao Zhang. That kid Enmu has done such a big thing in the United States again? Dunk basketball hoop, dunk rebound, dunk hoop." Looking at the close-up of Enmu given by the reporter in the newspaper, Su Jiping even wiped his eyes. It's true, the picture was taken from the bottom up. Enmu held the basket in his hand, domineering. The level of this videographer is very high, and just looking at the photos, you can even see the violent and domineering aura that Enmu displayed at this time. Alas, I really want to go to see Enmu's game. Su Jiping looked at the newspaper report on Enmu and was a little moved. Zhang Weiping said helplessly, "Yes, I also want to see, but we can only do activities in Atlanta. After doing this, I have to go back to the stage immediately. Where do you have time to watch Enmu's game?" Su Jiping said, "It's a pity. It looks like we're just waiting for him to enter the NBA. When he gets into the NBA, we'll still have a chance to narrate his game." When Zhang Weiping heard the word explanation, his eyes bloomed. "Wait, what did you say?" "I said if we would have a chance to explain his game later." Before Su Jiping could finish speaking, he was immediately interrupted by Zhang Weiping. "Stop grinding foreigners here. Go to work." "Hey, Lao Zhang, what are you doing? We haven't even fallen jet lag. This is a continuous rotation. Can't I sit and rest for a while?" Zhang Weiping said excitedly, "Rest a fart. Hurry up and work. Return home after work. I'm going to ask the leader for instructions to broadcast the NCAA game live." "What? Live NCAA games?" "Yes, what's wrong? We've never broadcast an NCAA game before. That's not as good as the NBA, right?" "Hee, you want to say this, we haven't broadcast NBA games live before, and now it's not live? Aha. And, you think the NCAA is not as high as the NBA? Do you know that on the day of the NCAA finals, the NBA will not schedule games on that day? Why? Because the NCAA will take all the NBA ratings." After Zhang Weiping finished explaining, he looked at Su Jiping. "And if Santa Clara can make it to the final, then there will be a historic moment in the TV picture. Celestial Empire basketball players play against a group of future NBA stars. And this Celestial Empire basketball player will also be an NBA superstar in the future. If the Chinese people look at our basketball players and win the basketball championship of Laomei, how will they feel?" When Su Jiping heard this, his blood boiled. Rely on. That must be cool. After he finished speaking, he immediately got up. Go, work, go home, hit the report, live stream, commentary. The Santa Clara Broncos beat Massachusetts to reach the Final Four. They are just 2 games away from winning the title. The location of the last 2 games gathered the eyes of all meeters. New York, Madison Arena. 4 NCAA teams came to New York. Santa Clara University, Georgetown University, Wake Forest University, University of Kentucky. These 4 teams will compete for the final championship. The first will be a 4-2 qualifying match. Santa Clara v Georgetown, Wake Forest v Kentucky. When the 4 teams hit New York, basketball enthusiasm came to the cosmopolitan city. It's the same as playing in Denver. Now New York is full of elements of the NCAA March Madness. Signs on billboards, fans wearing NCAA college jerseys on the street, and NCAA highlights playing on roadside screens. When pedestrians pass by the screen, they always stare for a while, but they are not idle under their feet either. For them, the highlights are just a way to pass the boring walking time. However, there is only one person who is different. Whenever the screen plays MU's wonderful highlights, you will find that the people on the street are like falling under a spell. They will unconsciously stop when they play MU's wonderful highlights. Then watch this big man from the Celestial Empire. All kinds of violent abuse frame performance. When they see the last scene, the pedestrians will leave satisfied. The last scene, of course, is the famous scene of Enmu dunking the basketball hoop and pulling the basket. The qualifying dates are getting closer. April 30th, Madison Arena. Stars show. Journalists gather. It's one of the most glorious moments of the NCAA year. Today is the day when the Final Four advance to the finals. The winner of this game will be one of the teams in the NCAA March Madness Tournament Finals. Which team will have the last laugh? Is Georgetown University a university with a strong alumni background who has cultivated historical superstars such as Ewing, Mutombo, and Mourning? Or is it the first time in history to reach the Final Four, all the way through the hurdle, pick North Carolina, and abuse Santa Clara University in Massachusetts? This game will be answered for all fans. Before the game began, Georgetown University core player Iverson was interviewed. AI, will you hit the inside line today as you always did? Santa Clara University's inside line is different from that of other teams. The 183 centimeters defender raised an eyebrow. For me, it's the same inside for all teams. I'll score the way I do best. Georgetown will win the championship again and reach the top under my leadership. Episode 49. The reason why Iverson dares to speak like this is indeed his confidence. Now in the various NBA draft prediction lists, Iverson is firmly in the top 3. A player with a height of only 183 centimeters can exist in the top 3 in the prediction of the draft list, which is simply an incredible existence in the NBA where giants are like Lin. Moreover, 1996 was a big year for the draft. Iverson can have such a prediction pick in the draft year, which is even more incredible. Therefore, Iverson's statement is also telling the truth. In the past season, Iverson's sharp breakthrough has pierced the inside defense of many teams. He is simply the sharpest blade on the field. All the opponent's defense will be cut by Iverson's sharp blade. This game is live broadcast all over the meter. Many people also take this game very seriously. Auerbach is one of them. The Celtics have been swinging for the past season in order to be able to select Enmu in the 1996 draft. Now, the season is coming to an end. The Celtics' swing results are not bad, second to last in the East. However, the penultimate record in the East is obviously not enough for the competition for the top pick. In the remaining dozen games, the Celtics players will continue to work hard to lose. Their old enemy, the Lakers, is also competing with them. The Lakers and Celtics have been at loggerheads since antiquity. The feud between the two teams has lasted for generations. From Jerry West versus Bill Russell to Magic John News versus Larry Bird, it seems that in the first decades of the NBA, the yellow-green battle was the theme rhythm of the NBA. But after the 90s, both teams began to decline. Celtics supernova, Bias, died of XD overdose after being selected. The Lakers point guard, John News, also had no choice but to retire due to AIDS, due to improper private life. The two teams thus withdrew from the stage of history. And next, the rise of the Pistons, Bulls, Rockets, and other teams. In the 90s, it seemed that the status of the yellow and green teams was no longer there. However, the meritorious elders of the two teams will not agree. The Celtics are at the helm, Cardinal Auerbach, and the general manager of the Lakers, logo man, Jerry West. These two are constantly thinking about restoring their respective teams' glory. Both of them keenly feel that these 2 years are the most important moments of layout. Since the 1995 draft, every year's draft has been very important. Every year's draft will affect the league's pattern for the next 20 years, especially the 1996 draft. Top priority. In the 1996 draft, there were many good talents. Center, there is. Striker, there is. Defender, too. The only thing they have to do is make sure they have enough draft picks. Then, at the most critical moment, take down the people who will help the revival of the team. And this year, the two teams have undoubtedly set their sights on Enmu. Auerbach thought that Enmu might become the Celtics' second Bill Russell. Jerry West believes that Enmu may be able to become the Lakers' second Chamberlain. The two giants, putting aside their pride, began to rot for a freshman. Today, the heads of both teams also appeared at Madison Arena. Maybe it's a duel of fate. Both sat in the front row and, coincidentally, they were sitting face to face. In the middle of the two, there is a basketball court. In a while, Enmu, the player they are optimistic about, will appear in this field. Similarly, it was not only the yellow and green masters who came to the competition site. Warriors general manager, Twazek, also came to the game. He also came to watch Enmu's game. The yellow-green swing is heartbreaking, and the swing of the Warriors is prescient. Perhaps there is truth to Green's words. Before you swing rotten, we start swinging rotten. This is what Turchevak wants to say to the two masters. The Celtics want to be the second to last in the East, and the Lakers are also the second to last in the West. And the penultimate in the West is also the penultimate in the whole league. No, it's under Golden State Warriors. The battle for Enmu has long come to a white-hot stage. This game is more about spreading their attitude to the outside world. If before, they had to sneak up on their draft intentions, well now, no need, because now that the results are basically set, nothing can be changed. Enmu's performance since the crazy March is also too eye-catching. Now, more than 80% of fans believe that Enmu will be this year's champion. If you want to get the consent of the remaining 20% of the fans, it's easy. This game, beat Iverson. Next match, beat Kentucky or Wake Forest. Lift the NCAA tournament. Then, Enmu will be the champion. The atmosphere is warm and everything is ready to go. The two teams didn't make everyone wait long. When the time was set, Enmu and Georgetown University center Harrington walked to the free throw line. Watch out for his jumping ball quick attack. On the sidelines, John Thompson, the famous coach who had trained Ewing, Mourning, and Mutombo, shouted loudly. The referee's whistle blew and Enmu won. Georgetown immediately launched a tough defense against Enmu, not giving Enmu the opportunity to break through the defensive front. And today Enmu doesn't seem to be pursuing the opening quick attack, just run slowly towards the front court. Nash held the ball and pushed outside the three-point line, and Enmu immediately blocked it. Iverson moved sideways, as if hitting a reinforced concrete wall. Nash used his speed to get inside the line. Thompson has tweaked Georgetown's defense well. Georgetown's defensive responses are interrelated and progressive. Nash broke through to the basket, but in front of him was the Georgetown power forward, blocking all of Nash's shooting space. Boom. Nash doesn't move on his feet, but his hands are delicate. Hit the ground and pass the ball to Enmu, who went to Nichi. Iverson tried his best to stop Enmu's empty cut. Enmu catches the ball and holds the ball with one arm towards the basket. Harrington jumped from Enmu's side to block the block. The next moment he regretted it. Not only did he not succeed in blocking, but he also lost a foul because of his excessive movements. Beep. The referee immediately blew the whistle. 2+1. Enmu stretched out 2 fingers in his left hand and 1 finger in his right hand and touched them with both hands. The right hand becomes 3 fingers. Boom. This celebration action is very handsome. Mike Bryn is still the commentator for this game. As ESPN's senior commentator, he will only explain the most exciting games. Free throw scored. Offense and defense switch. Georgetown offense. Nash can't defend Iverson. It's impossible to defend Iverson in his life. Marlon Garnett was sent to defend Iverson, but was still unable to defeat Iverson's change of direction. Iverson changed direction twice from the outside, easily passing Garnett. Iverson, who is 183 centimeters, is extremely agile on the court and kills straight to the basket. After seeing Enmu, Iverson did not hurry and patiently changed the rhythm. Stop, stop, slip under the basket, take off, stay in the air, pull the bar. His handling of the offense is meticulous, and his technique alone is arguably the best player of 1996. Iverson makes a backlash. As soon as Mike Bryn's voice fell, Enmu's big hand had arrived. His fake action just now, even if Duncan came, would be shaken. Enmu was actually taken aback, but his reaction was really amazing, and he had adjusted it at the first time. And without mercy, he sent Iverson a Celestial Empire specialty hot pot. AI, this is a meeting gift for you. Episode 50. A big hat made Iverson's pre-game speech a little pale. Iverson was also a little blind at this time, and he obviously pulled the rod to the back. Even if his 3 seniors, Ewing, Mourning, and Mutombo, his all-star level centers in the NBA, can steadily score basketball, why can't you face Enmu? Dunn picked up the basketball that was covered by Enmu and passed it directly to Nash's hands. Nash carried the ball to advance the fast attack. After attracting the defensive bag, the ball went to Marlon Garnett in the bottom corner. Garnett took the ball and aimed at the basket to shoot a three-pointer. Santa Clara University's three-point shooting has been very accurate this season. Among them, there is Nash's credit. Because he shoots more than 50% from three-point range, he can really improve the team's overall three-point shooting level. However, the three-point shooting of other players at Santa Clara University can also be kept at about 36%, which is already very efficient. Garnett's three-point shot was the second best on the Santa Clara University team. After shooting a three-pointer, Garnett suddenly felt that his hand was not right. Gone. As soon as the basketball reached its highest point, Garnett knew the ball was gone. Rebound. Marlon Garnett rushed straight inside and wanted to grab the rebound, but the inside line at Georgetown University directly stuck him. The rest of Georgetown University can pull the crotch, but not the inside line. This is a team that has produced 3 all-star caliber centers. Even the current starting center doesn't have the talent of the 3 of them. Under Thompson's tutelage, he also controlled some small details on the field very well. Want to fight for front court rebounds? Dream. Harrington pushed Garnett away, jumped up and reached for the basketball to be tucked away in his arms. At this time, the University of Santa Clara number 0 jersey appeared in the air, and Mu got the basketball first. Harrington saw that the basketball was snatched away, and did not panic, and used a small trick to make Enmu lose the ball, but Enmu would not agree. "Let's go inside." He did not land, and the air showed the stagnant power against the sky, and successfully made up the buckle. At the same time as the buckle, Harrington was also deducted. It's this overbearing style of play. It's nostalgic. West watched Enmu complete the domineering buckle and began to recall the time when he and Chamberlain were teammates. At that time, Jean 20,000, every time after being happy with the cheerleaders, he could still fly back on the field. This kid can definitely do it too. One such thought suddenly appeared in West's mind. Georgetown regrouped, and Iverson attacked on the outside with the ball. As sharp as a blade, Iverson cut through the defensive bag that Santa Clara University had prepared for him. Striding into the forbidden area, this time he did not attempt to challenge Enmu's height. Outside play is inherently smarter than inside. Iverson is not the silly donkey of Campy. After a missed attack, he will change his offensive style. One-step jump shot from the free throw line. Enmu is still under the basket at this time, and he will definitely not be able to interfere with himself. 183's AI takeoff and hing ball aiming basket. After a slight lag, the shot is shot. At the same time, I saw Enmu take a big step out and fly up like a murderer. The right arm carried 1,000 pounds of force and hit the basketball. Another cap. AI, don't have a long memory. After Enmu landed, he smiled and teased Iverson. Iverson's eyes were horrified. He came straight to me with just one step under the basket? Is this still human? Mars is coming. Enmu's big hat was terrifying, and it directly flew the basketball from the free throw line fan to the midfield line. Nash quickly got the basketball and counterattacked. Whether it's the calf period or the solar period, Nash is a good player in his quick attacks. Now in his senior year, his technology has taken shape, and he will naturally not be much worse. After confronting the Georgetown quarterback, Nash did not make a layup, but came directly to a backlying shot. Yeeching back. After seeing one of Nash's backlying shots, Enmu said silently in his heart, "Isn't this what Nash is best at, backlying shooting during the sun period?" From the beginning, the game fell into the rhythm of Santa Clara University. Iverson's breakthrough is completely limited. No matter what the team's inside line, it's the same for me. Iverson blushed now when he thought of the words. Enmu is different. His movement speed is terrifying, his defensive sense is too good, and his frame protection strength is incredible. Iverson had to admit that with Enmu under the basket, he did not dare to attack. In fact, most of his shots today were long-range two-pointers and three-pointers. 2 points from close range and mid-range. He will be interfered with by Enmu like the free throw line jumper at the beginning. Since entering the crazy march, God blocked the killing of God, Buddha blocked the killing of Buddha, and the AI who averaged 25 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists per game, this game is not working. At halftime, Georgetown University scored just 25 points. Iverson contracted almost half of Georgetown's shots, played 20 minutes, shot 3 of 10 from the field, and scored just 8 points. Santa Clara University, under Nash's careful care, is silky on the offensive end. 41 points in the half, and Mu alone scored 20 points. Over the first half, Santa Clara University led Georgetown University by 16 points. At halftime, Iverson gasped in the locker room. If Enmu were here, he would say something to Iverson. AI, familiarize yourself with this feeling of fatigue, because it will always be with you for the rest of your career. It's rude, but it's true. When Iverson was in the NBA, the only season he could really get enough off was the last 2 years of his 12-year career. Even in Iverson's rookie season, he averaged 40 minutes per game. The current Iverson leads Georgetown is like the Philadelphia 76ers led by Iverson later. The whole team is counting on Iverson. Iverson played well and the team won. Iverson didn't play well and the team lost. Aaron. Hold on. The team needs you again. Thompson came to Iverson's side, patted Iverson on the shoulder, and said firmly. Hearing this, Iverson nodded. He knows the team needs itself. John, I'll do my best. I promised you that I would lead the team to win the championship. I won't break my word. Iverson's tone was full of firmness. John Thompson was kind to Iverson. Iverson was falsely accused of going to jail, and no university wanted a player with prison experience after his release. Even though the player was the best outside high school student in his class, none of the teams nodded. In the end, it was Thompson who took the initiative to find Iverson's mother. Tell Iverson's mother, if you trust me, give him to me. 2 years later, Iverson is what he is now. Iverson also didn't forget that day Thompson came to his house, looking at himself and asking himself, "Boy, will you help me win a championship?" Yes, this was Iverson's answer at the time. Now, it is time to deliver on that promise. It's his last season, and he has to lead the team to the title. At halftime, Iverson stepped out of the locker room first. Looking at this back, a few words appeared in Coach Thompson's heart, lone hero. After returning from the second half, Iverson suddenly felt an explosion of hands. Hit 3 consecutive three-pointers from the outside to score 9 straight points. took Georgetown out of a wave of 9-2. The point difference is back within 10 points. It seems that the game is not over yet, Mike Bryn muttered, and Moo felt the belief coming from Iverson. That is unique to Iverson, arrogant, stubborn, maverick. This is a man who tattoos the word loyalty on his body. He's practicing his loyalty to the manager, to the team, and Moo also took out his highest respect, a specialty of the Celestial Empire, spicy hot pot. After Iverson scored 9 points in a row, the field began to improve. He began to continue to attack the inside line, and Moo once again exchanged positions with Jarvis. He left the basket and went to the mid-range area to sweep. Iverson, who had just gained momentum, was brutally suppressed by Moo before he could see the scenery for a few seconds. Iverson does not believe in evil, so he started to head iron. Outside head iron, not scary. A scorer will not have the belief of winning if he does not have an iron head. However, when a player is a ball handler and a scorer at the same time, when he started to iron his head, it meant that the team's offensive organization began to be chaotic. This was also the beginning of the collapse of Georgetown University. In the second half, Mike Bryn's mouth blocked Bryant, and Moo finished the cap and never stopped. By the end of the game, Mike Bryn's mouth was dry. 103-60. This is the final score between Georgetown and Santa Clara University. There aren't many games in which the NCAA scores more than 100. Less in March Madness, Santa Clara University accomplished yet another feat. Congratulations to Santa Clara University, they beat Georgetown University. Santa Clara University, the first time in history to reach the NCAA finals, and Moo cut down 40 points, 22 rebounds, and 21 blocks in this game. Broke the NCAA men's basketball Division I league single game block record. Scary 40+20+20 data. When I saw this data, even West and Auerbach, who were used to seeing strong winds and waves, felt a little incredible. This strengthened their determination to choose Moo. Iverson walked towards the players' tunnel with some loss. This defeat of as many as 43 points made him very sad and lost. Snap. He suddenly felt a tap on his shoulder. Originally, he thought that Coach Thompson had come to comfort him. But when I looked up, I realized that this person was wearing the Santa Clara University jersey, and he was much taller than himself. And Moo?